Ladies and gentlemen, am I audible?
Yeah.
So let me start first by thanking Punjab Lalit Kala Akademi and Chandigarh Lalit Kala Akademi and of course Madan Lal ji, who have invited me here to reflect upon Meena Chopra's film as well as her book, Charismatic Chiaroscuro. Now this book stands at the intersection of a verbal narrative, a visual art form, and of course a cinematic narrative as well. Now this interdisciplinary realm has been of great interest for me for a very long time now. I started with my doctoral thesis, and there I worked on the interplay between cinema and fiction in the books of Joyce, Hardy, and Conrad. And then I switched to studying film noir also, which is again a chiaroscuro kind of a technique that we were talking about. So therefore my interest in Meena Chopra's project is essentially because I am very interested in the conversation between literature and the other art forms, which is what she is doing in her book, essentially. So here I would just like to make a few observations about what she has done in this project and which stood out for me, the observations basically which stood out for me. One is, of course, at the heart of her work is the concept of chiaroscuro. I mean, there are a lot of artists here, so I don't need to explain what that means. And Meena talked about it in the beginning, the movement of light and shade that we are talking about. That is what is the heart of her project. And also, what happens here is that when she's talking about light and shadow, she's not talking about light and shadow in silos. Chiaroscuro might be a technique that you are all aware of, but let me just share this little, anecdote about how I was introduced to this concept of, the play of light and shade. I came across the paintings of Caravaggio. He's an Italian artist who actually started with this concept of interplay of, light and shade. And I came across a couple of his paintings, Bacchus and Narcissus, where he sculpts the figures out of a backdrop of darkness. And he does it in such a way that there is, a sort of accentuating of the beauty of the figure in the foreground and also the intensity and darkness that is a backdrop for that figure. So when I was looking at Meena's work, I realized that what she is doing, how she's using chiaroscuro, is like a kind of a bridge between her poetry and between the visual art that we are seeing all around here, and also between the cinematic narrative that she has put together through her digital art. So basically what she is doing is that there is a pulsation of colors also, there is a stillness of the visual art also, but the stillness of the visual art is expanding into a cinematic narrative, not cinematic narrative in terms of just cinema, but in terms of the digital art that she's talking about. So basically when you read her poetry or her book Charismatic Chiaroscuro, what is happening is that you first engage with the text, which is the poetry, then you expand to the still visual art that she has displayed along with her poetry. With every poem, she has, a visual art piece. And then through the QR code, you move to the cinematic aspect also. And so you see the movement of that art, the digital art. So what is basically happening is that her poetry is expanding from just being a literary text to the visual art, stillness of visual art, and then further to the movement of the cinematic art. So what she is doing is she is moving from voice to a spatial dimension, which is shown by the visual art, and then she is moving to another third dimension, which is the temporal dimension, the time, the dimension of time. So as a result, what is happening is that her book is not contained within the pages of, the first and the last page. It is expanding. There is a poetic expansion from the voice of the literary text to the stillness of the visual art to the movement of her digital art. And it is this expansion, this absorption, which helps you to understand her poetry much better. Because what is happening here, when you are reading her text, what is happening is that you become a reader engaging with the language, then you become a viewer looking at her visual art, and then you see the performance of that visual art and literature happening, and so you become also a listener, and you also become a part of that visual narrative or the cinematic narrative. So what happens is that the absorption and the appreciation of the literary task grows and expands. And another thing that really struck me when I was looking at her work was the way she has connected the past and the present. She has taken her old paintings, she has transcreated them into visual art. So I have been a student of James Joyce for a very long time, and Ulysses, I don't know how many of you have read Ulysses, but in that what he is doing is, James Joyce does, is he doesn't believe in the preservation of tradition. He believes in re-illuminating, reimagining things. So what he does is he experiments with narrative text. So he has experimented with various forms of writing, like the interior monologue, stream of consciousness, then structured fragments of literature. And with that, what he does is he sort of lays out the inner depths of the protagonist that he is talking about. Thomas Hardy also does exactly the same thing. I don't know how many of you have read or maybe watched the movie Tess of the D'Urbervilles. Most of us know about Tess of the D'Urbervilles. And the last scene that you have in Tess of the D'Urbervilles is Tess standing against Stonehenge, the sarsen blue stones of Stonehenge. And they are huge pillars, and she is a diminutive figure, And so it sort of, the contrast is there where the outer landscape is representing her inner landscape, which is the puniness of a human being as against, providence or destiny. Something like what Shakespeare often says, I don't know how many of you have heard of this, as flies to wanton boys we are to God, they kill us for their sport, which means we are just puny, nothing, non-entities when we are talking about the larger existence. So in a similar fashion, what she has done is she has not just put those different art forms or juxtaposed them in silos, like I said before. What she has done is she has created a mutual resonance. So what is happening is that the imagery that she has shown in her visual art is also reflecting, or it is also alluding to the images and the emotional context that she is presenting in her written text. For instance, I'll just refer to one of her poems. She has a poem called Silver Moments on Canadian Rockies. So I'll just read a little bit of that poem. She says, I inhale the mist rising from the glaciers, where fog veils mountains beyond turquoise waters, exhaling sultry dreams relinquished, brewed in melting desires on the shores of the stunning lake. My vision calm, drifting over the fading droplets, engulfed in icy blue hues, I become a pebble rippling along the velvety waters, crystal clear. Many rivulets flowing through me, draped in silver grey, ascending into a stainless sky. So when you look at the picture that goes with it, you look at the colors of the images that are drawn. This, at a very, very superficial level, you would say that these colors are being reflected in the text when she talks about glaciers and she talks about turquoise waters and she talks about silver grey and stainless sky. This is reflected here. And then when you go to the QR code and you go to her cinematic rendition of this form, then what happens is that visual art from the stillness of a pigment, it transcreates into pixels on canvas. And as a result, for the reader, it increases the appreciation of the text. Because here they are accentuating each other. They are in an intermediate space where both different art forms, the verbal narrative and the visual text, are cohabiting that space without encroaching upon each other in a kind of a symbiotic relationship, so that one is benefiting from the other. So as a result, what is happening is that the poem is being accentuated by the painting is being accentuated by the visual metaphors that are used in the poem, and the cinematic rendition or the digital art rendition is further expanding the entire absorption or appreciation of that art form. So as just a closing comment, what I'm going to say is that she has not simply juxtaposed two different art forms. She has melded them seamlessly into a kind of a luminous pathway where there is a mutual resonance which is deepened, which accentuates the appreciation of all three art forms. So I'm going to say compliments to Meena for doing this, picking up such an ambitious project and executing it so seamlessly. So congratulations once again.